Hey, what is up, mortals? It's Miggy Sawdust here with a new video for you. Welcome to part 3 of What If Deku Was Trained by Aizawa. Just wanted to greet you all by just saying, sit back and relax. You're in for a treat. Let's begin. Izuku walked into the forest that he had spent the last year cleaning and training in. Aizawa had asked him to arrive earlier that day, and to wear stretchy clothes that he knew that he wouldn't wear outside of training in the forest. A pair of clothes specifically for his training, if you will. Which of course he had done. His body was clad in tight black clothing. They were old clothes, and anyone would guess as much from one look. Heck, even his shoes looked like they had seen much better days. Good, you wore old clothes. Aizawa's voice originated from just above Izuku, surprising the boy and causing him to get into a defensive stance with his arms above his head. His posture and reaction time showing the fruits of his training over the past year. Here, catch this. Not even giving Izuku the chance to respond, Aizawa dropped the material scarf he held in his hands, which floated down and landed on Izuku's forearms, somehow staying rolled up and neat. Is this? Izuku's eyes lit up and he actually didn't sound tired for a second. Yes, it's your own capture gear, Aizawa responded, a faint smile forming on his face when he noticed just how happy his student looked. When do I start? Izuku was fuming with excitement, quickly tucking the equipment over his head so that it would rest on his shoulders. Immediately. Aizawa spoke firmly before promptly jumping down from the tree. You have 10 months before the UA entrance exams. This capture gear will be of no use to you during that exam, so be sure to improve on your physical prowess on the side. Izuku nodded and Aizawa began to show him how to use the capture gear. Sometime later that afternoon, after multiple occasions of Izuku getting tangled and stuck in the capture gear, with Aizawa facepalming, the day came to a close, and after watching the news and finding out that All Might had defeated some sludge villain, the next 10 months of Izuku's life consisted of grueling training. Izuku spent his mornings and sometimes late afternoons training his body while learning how to use the capture equipment. And in the early to mid-afternoons, he would study, while at night he would do his usual scrolling through social media for hero clips and spend time being a kid. During this time, Izuku polished his body, and even though he was already one of the most physically capable of his classmates, he still managed to improve. About 2 months into this period, Inko decided that she wanted to lose weight and joined Izuku in his physical activities. At the end of the 9th month, Izuku finished clearing the forest, and it was restored to its natural beauty. The rubbish had mostly been recycled or moved to a nearby rubbish dump. He spent the last month finishing up whatever little training he had left, and spent the last week before the exam resting his body. Finally, the afternoon before the entrance exam came. Izuku met with Aizawa at the entrance of the forest where they started their training 2 years ago. Good, you arrived, Aizawa started, staring at the forest that he had watched Izuku clean for the past 2 years, while the boy walked up from behind. He spoke in his usual tired tone. Have I ever been late? Izuku replied, in just a tired voice. But unlike his teacher, Izuku let out a chuckle. No, you have not. The hero raised a hand and placed it on his student's shoulder. He was proud of him. Are you ready for tomorrow, Midoriya? Aizawa already knew the answer, but he wanted to know if his student knew the same. I don't think I could be more ready for tomorrow. Izuku gained a determined look on his face, while straightening his posture, his voice reflecting his confidence. Don't get cocky, kid. There's only so much you can do without a quirk. Aizawa spoke bluntly, but eternally he was cheering his student on. I know. Izuku's expression wavered for a moment, but his emotions held strong. Well, kid, I think it's best that you go ahead and get home so you can do whatever little studying you have left to do. Izuku nodded and turned to face his idol and teacher. Thank you, Sensei Aizawa. Izuku bowed before walking away and waving goodbye to his teacher. The next day, Izuku arrived at UA and he felt ready for anything. Walking onto the grounds, the boy took in the sight of the entrance to UA, and found that he couldn't help but let his jaw drop. This is it? This is where my life will be decided? The boy became confused when he found his face plummeting towards the ground. In his deep thought, he had failed to notice the uneven placement of the cement blocks in the ground, and thus tripped over one. Oh crap! The boy quickly moved his left foot around and in front of his other foot, stopping his fall. Oop! The sound of a startled, feminine voice scared Izuku. The boy quickly looked behind him and found a brunette with an unusually round face staring at him with her hand outstretched. Ha ha ha! You managed to save yourself. The girl reached up and scratched the back of her head awkwardly. Yeah, Izuku replied, fixing his posture. Well, good luck with the exam, the girl said, placing her fingertips against each other. You too. The girl walked off, and Izuku found himself standing on his own in silence. Oi, Shindeku! Get out of my way! Izuku flinched due to the sudden loud noise from behind him and quickly shifted to the side. Raising his arms in a defensive position, Izuku looked behind him to see none other than Bakugo Katsuki standing there, palm outstretched and ready to blast Izuku into the next dimension. Kacchan, it's you! Izuku forced a smile which pissed off the explosive teen. I don't know why you're wasting everyone's time, Deku. You should just apply for law school or become a fitness trainer, Bakugo remarked, acknowledging both Izuku's physical capabilities and his intelligence. Yeah, see you at school on Monday, Kacchan, Izuku said in an annoyed tone while walking off, which angered his childhood bully even more. Damn that quirkless brat, Bakugo thought to himself as he stomped into the building after Izuku. This video was sponsored by Honey. Honey is a free browser add-on available on Google, Opera, Firefox, Safari. If it's a browser, it has Honey. Honey automatically saves you money when you check out on sites like Amazon, Papa John's, and Kohl's. Wherever you shop, it's a good chance that Honey can save you money. All you have to do when you're checking out at these big sites is click that little orange button, and it'll scan the entire internet to find discount codes for you. It takes 2 clicks to install Honey. Now, anytime you check out, Honey will scan the whole internet and find coupon codes for you. If there's a coupon code, it'll find it. And if there's not, you can rest assured you're getting the best price possible. If you install Honey right now, you can save so much money on your online shopping, doing nothing. There's no reason not to install Honey. It takes 2 clicks. 10 million people use it, 100,000 5-star reviews. Unless you hate money, you should install Honey. Use the link in the description to start saving money now. The written exam went as Izuku expected. Well, besides the fact that a blue-haired student with glasses called him out for muttering in front of the whole hall of students. The boy finished half an hour early and took the time to sleep on his arms, which the students around him found annoying. When the practical exam came about, Izuku along with about 24 examinees stood outside a massive entrance to a test city, something Izuku found peculiar. The greenette saw the same brunette as before in his peripheral view, and almost went to go talk to her, but ultimately decided against it, and took the time to stretch. What are you all standing around there for? Villains wait for no one! Present Mike announced, and the door suddenly opened. The whole group of people, including Izuku, quickly began to run, with Izuku managing to gain a slight distance in between he and the rest of the examinees. Much like his sensei did in his day-to-day heroism, Izuku chose to go into the back streets of the city. Brief memories of his encounter with that villain all that time ago flashing in his mind. They didn't scare the boy, no. They motivated him. Maintaining a solid pace, the boy went through the streets and attacked the robots. Luckily for him, these robots had buttons at the back of their necks that allowed students with not-so-destructive quirks to get past the entrance exam. He was able to destroy 1-pointers with some struggle, but the 2- and 3-pointers all surpassed him in terms of power and durability. Needless to say, Izuku racked up quite a few points in the back alleys and streets, on the odd occasion going out into the main streets to help an examinee who was cornered or otherwise struggling to defeat a robot. About halfway through, Izuku came across a blonde examinee with a lightning bolt in his hair. He was surrounded by robots which consisted of 4 2-pointers and 1 3-pointer. And he had his hands in the air in front of his torso with his thumbs up. He looked to have an IQ of at least 15, which Izuku found weird but just ignored. "Stand still!" Izuku called out as he ran towards the student. "Hey," the student said in a half-beat voice, while Izuku ran up behind the 3-pointer and jumped onto its shoulders. "Hey, up here!" Izuku called out to the robots, catching their attention as he reached down and hit the button on the neck of the robot. Soon after, the 2-pointers began to shoot their rubber bullets at him, which he evaded by jumping into the air, planting his feet onto the wall, and jumping over both the 2-pointers to the right of the blonde. "Duck!" Izuku yelled out, jumping down into his hands and swinging his legs. Izuku literally swept the boy off his feet, which caused the boy to yelp as his backside collided with the ground. "Meh," was all the boy said, as rubber bullets narrowly missed his head and collided with the 2-pointers that now began to fire bullets at Izuku, who quickly jumped into the air again, narrowly avoiding the bullets as well. "Just a bit more," the Green Knight thought to himself, taking a rubber bullet to his right leg as he landed on the 2-pointer and pressed the button on its neck. Izuku then went on to do the same thing with the other 3 2-pointers, jumping above them, getting hit by a bullet, and then hitting their button. Izuku huffed and puffed, taking in deep gulps of air to catch his breath. Are you all right?" Izuku asked, to which the boy nodded in response. Good luck, then." Izuku had racked up quite a few points, to the point that he couldn't even remember how many he had. But he didn't want to sit around and do nothing, and risk his chances of getting into UA. So he fixed his posture and went off, running for the main streets since he could no longer find any active robots in the back alleys. Once the boy made it to the main streets, the sight of people running in a specific direction confused the boy. But a sudden rumbling clued the boy in on what was happening. 1 minute left! President Mike didn't worry Izuku too much. What did worry him was the source of the rumbling. Far away from Izuku, but closing in on him, was the 0-pointer. A massive robot that was able to look down on the buildings surrounding him. Worry, no, fear, filled the boy's face as he walked into the street. This thing was massive compared to him, and he instantly understood why it was worth 0 points. It was a robot that no one besides the likes of All Might, maybe a handful of other heroes, could defeat with ease. Turning around, Izuku got ready to run for his life. But something caught his attention. Someone help! Izuku turned his head over his shoulder and his eyes widened. The girl he had spoken to just before he entered UA's main building was stuck with her leg caught under some rubble, and the 0-pointer was closing in on her. Turning around and dashing towards the girl before his mind could even register what was happening, Izuku made his way towards the girl as fast as he could. There was no way for him to stop the 0-pointer, but the least he could do was pull the girl right out of the way of the robot, if the examiners didn't stop the giant robot in time. Can you walk? Izuku asked in a panic as he arrived at the girl's side. Quickly lifting up the rubble that the girl's leg was stuck under, he allowed for her to quickly move her leg out of the way. No, I can't! Izuku nodded and quickly picked her up bridal style, which made her blush. It was the first thing he could think of doing, and made a break for it. The entrance exam has come to a close! Thank you all for sticking around, and I genuinely hope you enjoyed that. Before you leave, we would just like to let you know that we the Celestials have many other channels for your entertainment and viewing purposes. All the information you'll need is right below here in the description, so feel free to check out all the other incredible projects our team creates. Secondly, on behalf of we the Celestials, I'd like to thank everyone involved in the production of today's awesome content. Their details will be in the description below. That's all for today's video, so goodbye and have a divine day.